Welcome to another episode of Bet the Bus. I am your host, Payoff Willy, aka Payoff Willy Bags. Listen, I'm going to give it to you straight. We went 2-3 this past weekend. Not the best weekend the boys have had in a minute. Not the best weekend. Listen, hand up, I'll take the accountability. We started off 3-2 in week 1. Now we're at 2-3, but we ain't got time to fucking bleed. We're bleeding just a little bit, but we have no time for it. Before we get into the slate, because we have 6 games here. We're going to talk Minnesota, Kansas State, Missouri, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Penn State, Illinois. Before we get into it, this episode is brought to us by Proper Wild, the cleanest energy shots out there in the world. There's no artificial BS. There's no artificial sweeteners, no crash midday. It's Friday vibes. It's college football vibes 24/7 when you have a shot of Proper Wild. You want a personal endorsement? That's the personal endorsement. Here we go. We're going to take a shot for the slate this weekend, to the sports book, to the gambling gods, to the fucking boys. All right. I'm joined by the smartest crew in all of the gambling world. JP, the Vault Hovey. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. He keeps you protected, safe, and ahead of the game. Jackie Slips. You see him back there. He's got the shades on. He's ready to deal us some quotes. I know he's got some inspirational shit for us this afternoon. So can't wait to hear from the boy Jackie. You got Gary. We're going to start calling him. It was Gary Midnight last week with the Tooth Fairy analogy. Now it's going to be Gary Fairy. You play your picks right. You pull one out right. You put it under your pillow. The fairy might be coming to put a little cash up under that pillow. And then you got the billboard. Mitchell, the billboard. Show it around. Show that big head. Proper Wild bought this episode. They will be presented, keep showing that head, on that forehead of Big Brain Mitch. Now, Jackie, hit us with the recap and hit us with a quote, brother.
You hit on it earlier. We went 2-3 last week. We got some things to do, hitting the drawing board. We were 3-2 the first week. So right now we're sitting at an even 500%, which some people would be content with. We are absolutely fucking not content with 500. This week we're at the drawing board. We're getting picks together and we're coming out hot. And I have a quote for that, because it's an unfortunate fact that we can secure peace only by preparing for war. And that's what we're here to do this week. We're preparing for war. Seasons are being shaped. There's a lot on the line for Nebraska, a lot on the line for Tennessee. I'm excited to get into it because I think it's going to be an inspirational episode.
Jack, for everybody watching and listening right now, by the way, if you're watching, please subscribe, drop some comments. I haven't talked to the squad today. And I knew Jack was going to give some inspirational shit. However, I didn't know you were going to cook it up like that. Because the reality is, we didn't come here to go 5-5. Some might say, oh, batting 50%, going 500, that's a winning season in the gambling world. We did not come to this program to go 500. We came to fucking win.
You remember when you'd win in Little League and you'd get McDonald's after a game?
Yeah.
No fucking chance is this team getting McDonald's until we go positive.
Fucking, dude, bring it in tight. We did not come here to go 500. That's not why we're here. And you guys might be saying, oh, Payoff Willy, you're the one who makes the picks. You're the one who tells us why. Bullshit. It's your belief. Listen, I took accountability at the top of the episode. Now it's time to give it to you real. I'll go out to the media, the press, and everybody else, say, hand up, that's on me. Now that we're in the locker room, now that we're bringing it in tight, it's bullshit on you. We got to believe more. I can give you the whats. I can give you the results, the hows, the whys, the process. It doesn't matter if you don't believe. You got to believe. You can't go into this thing half-assed. A great Nebraska head coach yesterday said it once upon a time. If you're afraid to lose, then that means you're afraid to win. You can't be going in scared, half-stepping. You'll be like the dogs taking a shit out in the front yard, looking at you all scared and vulnerable. Some shit's coming out. I don't know what's going to happen. No. We need foxhole motherfuckers that believe in what we are preaching. I know it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. It means you care. Pain is a part of growth. Pain is a part of success. I promise you, if this shit was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's supposed to be hard. You've got to lean into that pain. You've got to embrace that pain. Because I'm telling you, look at me. If we embrace the pain and we embrace the suck, we will be tasting the gift of salvation come Saturday night. And that gift of salvation starts with Nebraska -11. Jack, tee us off, brother. Let's fucking go.
3 weeks in a row, rolling with the Cornhuskers. At least you are. We got Northern Illinois at Nebraska. First home game, night game. Spread's 11. Let's see where this goes.
You said, let's see where this goes. Listen, if you've watched Bussin' With The Boys, you know where my head's at. There's no panic here. We're 0-2. We don't turn the ball over 8 times. We're 2-0. We lost to a good Minnesota team who's 2-0, who's probably going to beat North Carolina this weekend. We'll get to that pick in a minute. We lost to a good Colorado team that's firing. This is a money line as clear as day for Nebraska. That's what I'm seeing. And look, we have a good defense. We have a good run game. The keys are this: take care of the football, win on third down. We're kind of bottom half. We're bottom half of college ball on third down. We've got to make an emphasis. Win on third down, protect the ball, and get Jeff going early. We need some confidence. Yeah, we're going to run the rock. We're going to run it down the fucking throat. We are going to gag the Northwestern Huskies, Northern Illinois. It doesn't fucking matter what outfit they are. We're beating their ass. We can do it in the run game. However, we need to get some confidence going with Jeff. Get him moving out of the pocket early, painting the sidelines a little bit. Some quick passes. Marry the run game. Complement each other. Week 1 of the regular season for Nebraska starts this weekend. You don't start a season without a home game. Look at every other team in college ball who's winning games. They've played at home. Nebraska hasn't. They've been on the road twice. Should have won both games. Turnovers. Protect the football. I got Nebraska -11 in front of the home crowd. Night game. Night game in the rule era. You watch him do the media and press conference. He's a fucking leader. I'm telling you. Nebraska -11. And matter of fact, I do like what Mitch was saying here. Under is hit in both of Nebraska's games. It is now sitting at 47.5. Do we go under on the Nebraska-Northern Illinois game?
Yeah, I would go under.
You're going alt pick, alt line. You're taking under. You're not buying the Nebraska stock, but you might make a play at the under.
Yeah. The under is healthy with Nebraska. Great defense, like you said. And yeah, it's offense that's trying to figure it out.
I know 11's a big number because our offense hasn't proved that it can do much of anything right now. But we don't turn the ball over. We're getting in the end zone. We don't have penalties and turnovers. We're getting into the end zone every time. Nebraska -11.
All right, moving on. We have the number 1 team in the Big Ten West, Minnesota, at UNC. Line is 7.5.
I like this game. I like this game for Minnesota. People talk a lot. It's funny because Minnesota has to take a lot of strays because they barely beat Nebraska and stormed the field. Again, program who hasn't lost more than 4 games since 2018. I'm going to continue to say that. But Minnesota's got a tough team now. If they can get that offense going, I think North Carolina's vulnerable. Minnesota's also vulnerable. And it's a home game at North Carolina, but I like taking Minnesota +7.5. Minnesota with the points. If the line moves, take the points. If it moves a little too much, then just move the line to 7.5 because I like that +7.5 right now. Maybe they keep it close. They have good defense. I'm not sold on their quarterback at Minnesota, but maybe he'll get shit going now that he's got a couple games under his belt. You know, he had no clue he's going to face a black shirt defense like Nebraska in week 1. Thank God they got out of there and kicked the game-winning field goal, stormed the field. Listen, we had 4 turnovers that game. We win that game. If this is about Minnesota. Minnesota +7.5. You can take that one home because also, and here's some data that backs it up so you guys aren't thinking, Will's just talking out of his ass right now. UNC barely beat App State in double overtime. UNC is also 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games, thanks to Mitchie Billboard. Minnesota has been struggling offensively. That is true, but their defense has been stout. If they can make a couple stops and capitalize on some drives, they will keep it close. That is the words of Mitchell Billboard. Mitch, are you taking Minnesota +7.5?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Anybody going UNC -7.5?
Not after that gross win they had over App State. Question.
I have a question because what happened last week, Will, with all your North Carolina hype? They were one of the best teams ever. Drake May was a Heisman Trophy candidate. What happened?
One of the core values of Bet the Bus. Tell them. Accountability. And you, JP, you are correct. I was riding high on North Carolina. Part of me, it gets emotional because South Carolina let us down. I do think North Carolina has a solid team. I also think Minnesota has a solid team. That's why I like this game in Minnesota's favor because they got North Carolina at -7.5. I truly lost my train of thought right there.
Did you ever hear what Gilbert Chesterton said?
Who?
Gilbert Chesterton. You ever hear what he said?
Tell us.
He said, if a man only likes victory, he must always come late for the battle.
Can you explain that one a little bit more?
I think it's pretty, self-explanatory.
No, I love it. JP, you are right. You are right. There's, maybe there's a little too much heart involved with this one. You want Minnesota to continue to fucking.
You don't even got to elaborate. I just needed to hear
no,
that.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I was talking out of my ass. That's, again, accountability.
I respect that. Just like I respect you.
All right, moving on. Game 3, we got Kansas State at the ugly cousin of the SEC, Missouri. The spread is 6.5. This one does seem like a layup.
I like K-State a lot. I know they were a team that we rode a lot last year. Them and Illinois. Those two teams weren't always in our bet the bus, but every weekend I know our group chat was kind of popping off like, yo, these boys are kind of nice, especially when it comes to the gambling world. Let me tell you Mizzou's schedule so far. South Dakota, 35-10, not good enough. Middle Tennessee, 23-19. Chalk that one up as a fucking loss because that should be a blowout if you're Mizzou. Playing in the fucking SEC and shit. Kansas State won last year 40-12. Kansas State is making bad teams look bad. They're averaging 43 and a half, but, they are beating, terrible fucking schools. However, they're making bad teams look bad. A lot like the boys in South Bend, Notre Dame right now. They're making the bad teams look bad. They look like a little machine on offense. A lot of hardworking, blue-collar, first in, last out, intangible, study habits, neck up type of guys out there running around, sneaky athletic, sneaky fast, making a lot of plays for Kansas State. Mizzou is also 0-2 against the spread this season. This is, as Jackie Sliff just said, a layup of a pick. We are going Kansas State -5. I don't care if the line moves to fucking -9.5. We're taking Kansas State. I think this is good. I think they're going to steamroll the fucking Mizzou Tigers.
Do we have a
Bismarck
count
College.
on the over?
Do we have what?
Do you know what the over is for this game by chance?
You like an alt line for this?
I kind of like the over. I mean, you just said it. Kansas State is averaging how much? 44 points, 44.3?
Yeah, about 40.
43 and a half points per game.
Yeah.
I think it could be a sloppy defensive game with a lot of offensive strikes. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
What is the over? Do we know?
Let's look it up. 48 and a half. Kansas State averaging 43 and a half.
I like what you're selling.
There's data there.
I like what you're selling.
So I don't know. Maybe you tease it with a little 6.5, a little over. Who knows?
Mitch, do you only need 2 legs to build a teaser, like a 6-point teaser?
We're rich.
Hey, we're on to something.
We are.
Take the teaser with the over. That brings it down to what? Brings it down to 42.5 for the over. And you get, if you're going, yeah, listen, we don't do fucking math. We do letters, and particularly we do W's.
We do money.
We do money, baby. I'm telling you.
Dang.
Take a 2-leg teaser in that Kansas State game. We're going to take them out. Basically, it's going to be a money line and a over 42.5. That's when you create a teaser, a little 2-league parlay teaser. You run it at 6 points. You get both of those favorable. Listen, like JP said, money. Next game.
Scariest weekend of my life.
Set it up. I'll ask you how you're feeling. Set it up. Just build it out.
I'm going to be unbiased. We have the Tennessee Volunteers playing in the Swamp at night versus Florida. The spread is 6.5. You go ahead. You take this one.
I love how you're staying unbiased. We told you to wear neutral colors. You're wearing neutral colors, brother. Florida, listen, the best you're going to get out of Florida is the mediocre, untold story, Swamp Kings. Terrible start to the year. They're 0-2 against the spread. They were up on Tennessee. When you look at the last 6 years, they're 5-1. They won 5 in a row before Tennessee won a big game. I was there. That shit was rocking in Tennessee. Tennessee is averaging 257 rush yards per game, which is fourth in the country. I think all eyes are on Joe Milton this game. Not that this is like some colossal game. However, it's a rivalry game. It's all about fuck Florida hate week, all that type of stuff. I just think it's a big game for Joe Milton because you show up in a hostile atmosphere like the Swamp and you put up some points, you're slinging the rock around. I think it's a big game for him. That's who I'm going to be watching. And also, is there any news that came out of Tennessee that we can rely on? Is there anything that's happened that kind of puts hey, they didn't play that well over the weekend at ease?
Yeah, because everyone's talking it. Austin P, it was 6-6 at half, you know, countless missed throws, overthrows, bad calls. You can blame it on whatever you want. It was a horrible game, and we got the W on paper, but it felt like a loss. Typically, I would be screaming from the mountaintops, you know, fuck Florida. Tennessee's going to take this, take the spread. And I am, because on Sunday morning, not the coaches, but the players initiated a player-only team meeting for the Tennessee Volunteers.
We're doing other antics. This is for production. Yeah, this is production. You know I'm riding this. You know I'm riding Tennessee. Just finish up. I did not mean to.
Again, a big rivalry game. It's anyone's game because it's Florida. It does not matter what the records are. But because the players initiated a team-only meeting on Sunday morning, that tells you that not only are they fucking dialed in for the game, but there's leadership there. There's presence. I do believe Joe Milton has a big bounce-back game. He played really bad this past Saturday, but this is, like Mitchie has said in our notes, it's the litmus test for Joe. And I do think he's going to go in the swamp and shut the fucking Gators up. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be fun. It's Florida, Tennessee at night. It's kind of, you know, it's what college football is about.
I'm riding with you, brother. Tennessee -6.5. One question for you.
Yeah.
What does litmus mean?
It's like a test to determine if something is adequate enough.
I'm telling you, I got geniuses. We got geniuses in this fucking locker room, boys. What is the next game? We're going Tennessee -6.5. I like for them to go into the swamp and fucking, you know, do their thing.
All right, the next game, a game that we will be in attendance for. We have the South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Georgia Bulldogs in the Hedges. The spread is 27.5. This is, yeah, I don't really know what to think about this game.
I don't either, man. It's like, listen.
I'll tell you what to think about this game. In 2019, all of Georgia's last, like, SEC East losses, like, everything before their dynasty happened in 2019. That was the last time they ever really, truly lost. And who'd they lose to? They lost to South Carolina. And that is what they will do this weekend against South Carolina. They will lose. The year we only had 3 wins, we beat Georgia. We beat Georgia and then the ACC champions. South Carolina, we mentioned that we'll be at that game. South Carolina hasn't lost a game in over 365 days that I've attended. And I'm riding that all the way down to Athens. So you do whatever you got to do. I know what I'm doing.
Brother, you get my piss hot when you talk Gamecocks, dude. You really do. Like, I love that little spin 365 deal because you're saying, hey, whatever the case may be, South Carolina is always good for a big upset. And you think it's coming this weekend at Athens. The line is plus 27.5. Here's why I like South Carolina outside of all that spin zone stuff. I'm nervous about their defense because North Carolina and who'd they just play over the week? Furman, who put up some points, regardless, like if they still took care of business offensively. I do like how Radler showed up, threw for 300 plus, 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
I had like
2 incompletions.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 or 3 incompletions. The backup got in. He was wheeling and dealing a little bit. It's good when South Carolina is getting a little bit of a mojo on offense, similar to last year. I think it's good for that confidence, just for that momentum going into a game like South Carolina. Because you can look at week 1 and chalk it up as that was sloppy ball, that was not us and everything else. Because I believe in Coach Beamer. I like what they're doing. To upset, I think will be insane in Athens. However, plus 27.5, I can get on board with that. I'm going to take the Gamecocks plus 27.5. Listen, Georgia is the team you want walking off the bus. I like plus 27.5, brother. I like that. Is anybody going Georgia? Mitch?
This could be huge for the SEC East.
Yes,
I'm riding with the Gamecocks.
Such a follower, Mitch.
All right, moving on.
I'm the one who your picks.
Hey,
You look smart.
Hey, boy. Listen, we can't let that get out. Every good head coach has great coordinators and coaches surrounding him. That's what I'll say. You are one of them. Let's get to the Bet the Bus Lock of the Week. Presented by Proper Wild. The Proper Wild. This is the proper game. Penn State at Illinois. We got your Lock of the Week right here. No BS. No artificial bullshit. Just like the Proper Wild shots. This will be the cleanest ass whooping you've ever seen of all time. Jack, set this game up.
Yeah, we got Penn State at Illinois, the Fighting Illini. The spread is 14.5, which is a good amount of points, but it is Penn State. So, again, I don't really know where this game goes because Illinois has been playing decent ball this year.
No, they
Oh, no,
haven't.
sorry,
they did last
I'm
year.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're SEC. Trust me. You're looking. You dressed up right now. Your head is against. It's all fuck Florida right now, and that's okay.
That's
Let the Big Ten experts, myself, Mitch, will speak on this a little. But yeah, Illinois, they were good last year. However, they're not playing that good a ball yet this year, man. And Penn State is a machine. Like every receiver's touching the ball. And Mitch, I'll get to you here in a second because Penn State your 1 or 2? I know you love Ohio State too. I do.
They're my 2.
Okay. Take the moving camera, put it around your head. And JP just on his forehead, just put front runner on his forehead. But
Don't stand for that, bitch.
hey, I love their quarterback. He's dominating. Got a lot of yards. Fucking he doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. He drives the offense downfield. They're running back by committee offense. They got studs in the backfield. And not only that, but the quarterback, everybody is touching the ball for Penn State. I mean, they got a squad, man. They're good in the trenches. They got tough defense. I think my pick is Penn State minus 14.5 against an Illinois team that I don't even think they're searching for their identity right now. And it ain't going to be found in Champaign this weekend. Mitch, is there anything that you got to add on to that?
The Illinois defense isn't like what we were used to last year. We were riding those guys hard through the entire season.
Hey, yo!
No pause. But the two running backs that Penn State has, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen.
Batman.
Katron's from JP's area. Nick Singleton's from my area. PA boy and South Carolina boy just in the back, just doing their thing. I think Penn State is just. I'm nervous for when my number 1 team faces my number 2 team later in the season, but it is what it is. Penn State, lock it.
That is the lock of the week. I like Penn State minus 14.5. Is anybody thinking that might be a game that they might not cover? Before we send these people off on a glorious Wednesday afternoon.
But Katron, he's not from South Carolina. I met him at IMG. Just want to put that out there. Because if he was from South Carolina, you would know.
I saw your excitement. Your excitement did say we grew up neighbors type of situation. But IMG, yeah. A lot of history at IMG. We were at the airport last weekend and just some random cats asking you about your IMG backpack. And then when to go into some historical, how it got built and everything like that. But yeah, Penn State minus 14.5. Guys, look.
Yes.
There's a quote now that I'm thinking of it. It comes from JP, which also comes from a legendary turtle out of a movie. Yesterday is history. The future is a mystery. And today is a gift.
That's why they call it the what, Will?
The parlay. Put them all in the parlay. And we're taking this sports book for everything it's worth, boys. Thank you for tuning in to Bet the Bus. Make sure to subscribe and leave comments. Big hugs, tiny kisses. We fucking love you.
That was the first thing.
That's why I couldn't say it before we started the episode because I knew he was gonna be like, "Oh, come on, man!" But I like the